Hello, hello, I am Sinner, and I am back at it with another book review of the Nicomachean Ethics. This time it is Book 8, The Kinds of Friendship. Now, one thing, first of all, is he defines friendship extremely differently. The way I would define it is almost like acquaintance or familiar association, because he puts not only friends, as we put it, but also like business partners and families into this like category. And this chapter really is just covering at first the uh, different kinds, and these are sort of based on the power balances between different individuals and the motives as to why these individuals are acquainted, right? So if you have two friends, as we would call them, two people who are on equal grounds or are mostly equals and are only acquainted because they enjoy each other's company and they give each other pleasure, not in that way, that would be a friend, right? And that would be a friend who's equal. But then you have friends who are like, quote unquote, friends who are like in a situation where they're only friends because they have practical, mutually beneficial attributes or skills. So this is your business partner or your colleagues, right? You know, maybe someone who is really is helping you start up your business and you're helping him or something like that, right? Both of you are running a business scheme, is an example. And he also talks about how there's differences based on the uh, the power imbalance, right? So he talks about fathers and sons as being friends, which again is a weird thing to think of, but he talks about them as friends, but in a unequal friendship. And in that case, in order for the friendship, in an unequal friendship to work, there has to be proportional um, trade, so to speak. So justice, in a way, if you remember the talk about justice, the book on justice. So how this works is, for example, if someone is the the superior, he will give proportionally less than the inferior, or what they give each other is different. So you might have a guy who's rich, and what you might give is your company and your affection to the rich guy, but the rich guy will give you his money, right? And that sounds bad, but like that would be an example that off the top of my head where you you proportionally complement each other based on what you need. Um, Overall, this was another book that I expected not to find interesting, but I found interesting. One weird thing is he goes on like this weird side tangent about politics in the middle because he talks about familial relationships and relations in the household as sort of being analogous to the state. And then he goes on and starts talking a bit about like the father and that sort of stuff. And I wasn't expecting that. But, you know, I think that's something a lot of people have talked about, how the relationship in the family can have analogous representations in the state. So the father is, or the mother, depending on what type of state it is represented in the government or the state. And then you are sort of a child of the state and that sort of thing. But yeah, overall, interesting book. I now have, as far as I know, two books left. So not long to go That's all I really have to say for this one. I'm trying to keep these shorter now because I realized I waffled a lot in my other reviews of these books of the Nicomachean Ethics. So I am Sinner. That's all. Thank you for listening.